Hello everyone! Today's video tutorial is about overlay mosaic crochet worked in rows, basics, how to read charts, and I will share with you some tips and tricks. Here's one of my samples, the pattern Christmas Glow. For mosaic crochet, you need at least 2 contrasting colors. The better contrast, the better you will see the pattern. You can use as many colors as you want, but you need at least 2. So in this case, I was using dark blue solid color and light blue variegated yarn. By the way, variegated yarn works perfectly with mosaic crochet. It's not so easy to find the technique or pattern that works with variegated yarn nicely, but mosaic crochet works really perfectly nice with variegated yarn. And you can use absolutely any weight yarn. Just keep in mind that mosaic crochet technique creates a rather thick fabric because we are working those double crochet stitches on top of single crochet. So here we have like 2 layers of fabric. Just keep it in mind. We want the blanket to be thick, warm, but if you want it really light, keep it in mind and don't use bulky yarn also. What do we have to know about mosaic crochet and how actually it is worked? Each row of mosaic crochet is worked in one color only. This makes our life so much easier, really. And you always work only from front side. So you work one row in one color, you cut the yarn at the end of the row, and you start a new row from front side, working again till the end of the row. So this is why, let me show you another sample. This is why mosaic crochet creates these fringes we have from, this is from the right side where we start the row, and we have the same on the left side where we finish the row, because after each row we cut the yarn and fasten off. What I always suggest before you start your project, think about how you will finish your project. Will you be adding double border or you will leave the fringe? If you plan to leave fringe, you want it a bit longer. You don't want it so very short, because if you are making double border, you don't need those tails to be so long. They can be really like this long. If you plan to make twisted fringe, you even need even more longer tails. So this is something to think about, and this will help you to save some yarn. Because as I said, if you are planning to make double border, you don't need these tails to be so long. So this is this blanket here is with double border. It's worked from both sides, and I will add a link in description box with this new creator technique that I created recently. A very easy way to start double border, and I absolutely love it, and I heard really very nice warm feedback about this technique, and I hope you will like it as well if you are still not familiar with this. And let me show you the charts. How do they look and how do we read them? How do we understand them? This is not something as scary as you think. Let me zoom a little bit. Okay, so here it is a sample of the chart. The pattern will always include the legend where it is identified what each symbol means, so it's easy for you to navigate. But if it is the first time you see the chart, let me help you a little bit. So each project, when we are working overlay mosaic crochet in rows, we work from right side to left, from bottom to top. It's the same direction as we crochet, to the left, to the top. Here we have one line is one row, one square is one stitch. So pretty easy so far. Believe me, nothing difficult further as well. So the empty square identifies back loop single crochet. So we work it only into back loop of the stitch. The first and the last ones on each row, we have single crochet stitches, the same as we have on our first row when we are working into foundation chain or foundation cord. We'll talk about this shortly. We alternate colors on each row. So one row we work in color A, one in color B, in color A, color B, and we change like this every row. Now the pattern color is color B. As you see, this blue color creates the pattern. So this is our pattern color B, and A is our background color. If you are not yet very friendly with Mosaic Crochet, or you are new to Mosaic Crochet, I would advise you to choose lighter color for the background and darker for the pattern, so it will be corresponding with the chart and it will be easier for you to read and will not be confusing. The colors will not be confusing you. Just a small tip to help you. Now the square with X identifies a front loop double crochet worked 2 rows below. So it means it will be worked into this front loop double crochet 2 rows below, where we have the row in the same color. The bold border is the main pattern repeat, and this repeat you can work as many times as you want. In our case, the pattern is multiple of 8. We have here 8 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which means that you have to start your project with chains multiple of 8 and to add the number of stitches that are outside bold border, 1, 2, 3. So what it will be? Let's say we want multiples by 8. So it will be 8 multiplied by 10 equal 80, and we need to add those 83 chains to start our project. So when you are working your foundation chain or cord, you count from 1 to 8 as many times as you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as many times as you want. When you are happy with the length of your chain, you add 3, 1, 2, 3. That's it. Your foundation chain or foundation cord is ready, and you are ready to move to row 1. Foundation chain or foundation cord and row 1 are worked in the same color, color A in our case. So let me show you how do we work foundation cord. I have it in my video, a double border, but let me show you again. Now, as I posted recently a short video of foundation cord, people started asking me how do you know how long tail you have to leave? Okay, if it's your first time, it's not so easy to identify, especially if you're making huge project. What I usually do, I cannot show you here now in a video because my hand will not fit. I spread my hands in the level of shoulders straight to the sides, and I measure like this the yarn. So once the length of one spread, I count for about 100 chains. If you are making like really huge project like 500, the safest way is to take 2 skeins. Instead of using the tail, just use 2 skeins of yarn, and you will be using one both together. So, okay, let me show you. I will take small tail because I will not be making now. Let me fix a little bit camera. I will not be making very big project. So as we said, we need multiple of 8 in our case. So we count. This is our working yarn and this is our tail. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, you start from 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You repeat as many times as you want, and we add 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. That's it. We can cut the yarn. What do I suggest? For this foundation cord, to leave the tails a bit longer. Let me fix the zoom. Okay. To fix the tails a bit longer, until you are sure that you have correct number of chains. We fasten off. And our first row, we will start working into the back side of our foundation cord, leaving those nice V. You see how nice V we have? Those nice V for the border. And we will be working now in the same color A, our first row. So we start with a slip knot. If I'm planning double border, I always try to keep my tails as short as possible. You see, this tail is long enough to tie them together on the sides before we start double border, and you do not need to shorten them, so we do not waste yarn. Win-win. Let's take a look at our first row. First row, we have all single crochet stitches, so it's pretty easy. Starting into the first chain, standing single crochet, let me try to zoom it. Will it be better? And then we work all this row single crochet. If you work loosely, if your stitches are a bit loose, I advise to use smaller size hooks so your work is more neat and you can see the pattern more clearly, especially if pattern is very detailed. consists from very tiny lines. You want your work to be a bit more tight so you can see the pattern clearly. Especially if you are using acrylic yarn. Acrylic yarn softens a lot after washing, so don't be afraid if it feels tight when you are working. Acrylic yarn softens so much. So here we go, all single crochet, and you see I'm still like double checking if I am inserting the hook correct and leaving this nice V for double border that we will be using one loop for front side, one loop for back side. Oops. Okay, and the last one. Oops. Here we go. Again, if we are still not sure about that we have the correct number of chains, stitches, leave the tail a bit longer, just to be sure. If when we are working here now single crochet stitches, you saw I started from that side, not where we finished the row. So if our foundation cord wasn't correct, you could easily here to add more chains or to reduce, as the end is here, so it's very easy to fix it. Let's move to row number 2. Also, what we do, and you can choose the way you like. Now, the rows that you worked already, you can hide with a sheet of paper or a ruler. If it is easy and more comfortable for you, you might prefer to hide the rows, the next ones that you will be working later. Now we will be working row 2, yes, so you might want to hide the further ones. I don't like traveling with the rulers and extra sheets all around. For me, the easiest way, I highlight the rows that I worked already, and I know where I finished. So row 2. Row 2 is also very easy. We start with standing single crochet. All stitches will be back loop single crochet, and the last one will be single crochet. And for this row we will be using color B. My color B is this one. Again, we start with a slip knot, and now what I do differently, and it's one of the steps of my double border easy start technique 3 magic steps, I insert the hook into the center of the stitch, not into the top, not here into the top, but into the center. You see those 2 legs of the stitch? So between those legs of the stitch, and we want both legs on the back side to be here on the right hand on this side, so we will use them when we will be working double border. Don't work this stitch too tight. First of all, it goes a bit lower, and second, we will be working double border into this stitch, so we don't want it to be very tight, because it will be very difficult to start our first round of double border. And this row is very easy. We are working all back loop single crochet. So here, let's take a look. This is our front loop of the stitch, and this is our back loop of the stitch. So for single crochet, we always work into back loop, except our first and last stitches. So all stitches back loop single crochet. It's also recommended to use the yarn that doesn't split, because when you are working only into one loop, sometimes you do not grab the yarn very good, or you do not insert the hook correct, and it's really much more easier to work if your yarn doesn't split. Again, we reached the last stitch, and again we inserting into the center of the stitch, and we want both legs of the stitch to be on the side. Cut the yarn fast enough. So we completed row 2. Nothing complicated so far, correct? Believe me, there will be nothing complicated and further. So we completed row 2. And we will be starting row 3. What I like to do when I am working, and especially if it is like more detailed pattern with more complicated design, not as simple as this one, before I start the row, I look through and I mark my double crochet stitches, and if you have many repeats and repeat is more complicated, what I do, I count those stitches. Let's say here we have number of back loop single crochet, so I count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and I write here 7. This really helps a lot for me to follow the pattern easier. The same if I have let's say 5 double crochet, I would write here 5. It's so much easier for me to follow the pattern, and you don't need to count again to be sure. You wrote it down, you know it. So we move to row 3. That starts with standing single crochet, then 1 double crochet, 7 back loop single crochet. You see how helpful that we wrote it down. We don't have to count again. Again, front loop double crochet 2 rows below. We repeat it again, and we finish this row with standing single crochet. So let me show you how this row we work, and how do we work the repeat. Again, we insert the hook into the center of the stitch between those legs, and we want both legs to be on the side, not too tight. So this is our standing single crochet, and the next stitch is front loop double crochet 2 rows below. It means we will be working to this front loop of this single crochet. What I do, I keep this loop on the hook as tight as possible, because this is going to be the top of our stitch, and we don't want it to be loose. So I keep a bit tight. I insert my hook into this stitch, nice, carefully, grab the yarn, and I don't pull it up. I pull it down in order not to stretch this loop, and you really don't need to pull a lot, just a little bit. And here we have our front loop double crochet worked 2 rows below. Now in order to continue, let me show you. We always skip this stitch which is left behind this front loop double crochet. You see, it's hiding one stitch. We always skip it. We work right into the next one. So we need 7 back loops single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, double crochet. Front loop double crochet. And here we worked 1 repeat. So let me show you the chart. This is our first repeat. We have 1 double crochet here, 7 back loop single crochet, and 1 double crochet. As I mentioned before, the main pattern repeat is in a bold border. When we reach the last stitch in the main repeat, you have to start working another repeat, and you start with the first stitch within bold border. You forget these stitches. You worked already. Those are only in the beginning, and we are not going to work these stitches again. Now we will be working only the stitches in the main repeat, and after we finish all the repeats, we will work the last stitch after the main repeat. So now we completed this stitch, which is front loop double crochet. Again, we need to work 7 back loop single crochet, 1 front loop double crochet, and as we have only 2 repeats, our last stitch will be single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, front loop double crochet, and double crochet into the last stitch, leaving both legs on the side. Cut the yarn, and that's it. Here at this point we completed the first row of actual pattern, and we see that our stitch count is correct. What we can do, if you plan double border, just cut all the tails as short as you want and fast enough. We are sure that we have number of stitches correct. So we completed row 3. And now we are ready to move to row 4. And when we will be working on this row, I want to show you one more tip. So we have here standing single crochet, 1 back loop single crochet, 1 front loop double crochet 2 rows below, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back loop single crochet, 1 front loop double crochet, 1 back loop single crochet, and we work the repeat again. And at the same time I will share with you one more tip, because I see people are facing some troubles rather often. So standing single crochet, and we have 1 back loop single crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 rows below, and 5 back loop single crochet. So another tip, when you are working and any kind of crochet, you have to be sure you hold your work straight horizontally and you're working your stitches straight down to keep 90 degrees angle. You cannot keep your work like this and work here single crochet or double crochet or any stitch. You cannot keep your work like this and work the stitches. You have to keep your work and work the stitches straight down. Let me show you on the paper. This is our work. And this is our work. When you work your stitches, you have to work them straight down. Not like this, not like this, straight down to have here 90 degrees angle. What happens, and people do not realize it, when you start working your stitches like this, look what it happens. It loses the shape. Your work loses the shape. And these people say, what is happening? Why my blanket is going sideways? Because you are working stitches like this. If you work stitches straight down, it will not happen like this. And problem solved. The same rule applies when you are working in the round to have nice corners, straight corners with 90 degrees angle. What you have to do? I finished here, let's say it's mosaic crochet. I worked here, 1 single crochet, chain 1, you rotate your work, and then you work another single crochet into the corner. You do not work this single crochet before you rotate it. You cannot work this single crochet when you're still holding your work like this. This will make wonky corners. If you want them to be nice, straight, neat, you have to rotate your work in time. Only after you turn your work, you can start working on this side. The same, you reach this corner, last stitch, chain 1, rotate, then you continue. Does it make sense? Okay, so let's come back to our project. What do we have here? We have a row 4. We worked 1 double crochet and we need 5 back loop single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 double crochet, 1 back loop single crochet. This is our 1 repeat. Let's take a look at here. We completed 1 front loop double crochet, 1 back loop single crochet. This is the end of our first repeat. What we do now, we go to the first stitch in the main repeat, ball border. So it means front loop double crochet again. Front loop and double crochet 2 rows below. Don't forget that we do not have to work into the stitch that is hiding behind front loop double crochet. Again, 5 back loop single crochet, 1 front loop double crochet, back loop single crochet, and the last stitch, again single crochet into the center of the stitch, leaving both legs of the stitch from the back side on the side of the work, not too tight, and the row is done. This is how easy mosaic crochet is, and as you can understand, there is nothing complicated, there is nothing difficult. The only thing is that, especially if pattern is more detailed, more delicate, design is much more sophisticated, you need a lot of counting. But okay, this is not such a big price to pay for the beauty mosaic crochet creates, don't you agree? Okay, so I will not be working the following rows with you together. The only thing what I want to mention, how do you continue the pattern? So we know already that stitches, when we reach the last stitch, we again working the first stitch in the ball border until we reach the end of the row. Let's say we completed row 4, row 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what do we next after I completed the last row? This is very easy. Again, we are looking at the bold border. Our bold border is from row 2 to row 9. So after you completed row 9, you start working row 2 again, and again you work these rows till you reach 9. Again you start with row 2 and you work like this as many times as you want. It depends how large your project you want to be. And that's it. And you are ready to move to double border if you want to. If not, you can leave just a fringe to work on the fringe, whatever you decide. Also, what I want to say, this V that I am working, even if you are not working double border, it creates very nice edge. Take a look at this. Those are all so neat, nice V's. I really like it so much, and I think this edges looks so neat, so nice. That's it. I think this is all what I wanted to show you, what I want to mention to you. Thank you so much for watching, and see your beauties around. Bye bye.